Excellent, guys. I'm really excited about this webinar. I haven't been on for the last few, so it's good to see you back here. I'm really, really excited about our guest speaker today, Lee Matthews. Now, I have no doubt that all of you will have either have met Lee in the past or you will definitely know about him. Lee has been with us pretty much from day one. And if you don't mind me saying, Lee started off when he was literally just starting out in business, and you had a handful of students all those years ago. Lee is now one of our biggest clients. He's actually in our top three of clients. As you know, Nest have hundreds and hundreds of clients. We have about 2,000 locations across the UK. Lee is up there. So you must listen to everything he says today. Listen to it with intent. Listen to it with a willingness to learn and be open to it, because what he has done works. He's now one of the biggest martial arts clubs in the UK. He has 200 schools across the UK, multiple franchisees and franchise businesses, as well as wholly owned schools. This is a powerhouse. So you must listen to everything he says. We're very privileged that he's going to talk to us today about content from his book. So Lee has been a bestseller on Amazon. You released your book in November 2023, I think it was published. And since then, he's got 5-star reviews. Everyone who's reviewed it on Amazon has given him 5 stars. So if you haven't seen that book, please go and check it out on Amazon. Lee also runs a mentoring group called Elite. So it's a group mastermind session that Lee runs throughout the year to his members only, and he does mentoring with those and group sessions with them. So he'll tell you about that later on. I've had the privilege of being at a few of them. They are excellent. I've seen multiple mastermind groups, but this one, it really is fantastic. The group have really bonded in there, so it was fantastic to see. So listen, Lee, I'm not going to babble on too much anymore. I think it's time to pass over. I think Lee's going to be with you for definitely a good hour. So, as I say, please take it all in. Please take lots of notes. It's 6 rounds of success. Lee comes from a military background, which he will tell you about. This stuff works. So, Lee, I will pass over to you, and I will be back with you at the end of the session.
Thank you. Cheers. That's a great introduction. Hopefully I can hit the expectations there. So firstly, thank you very much to everybody for jumping on. I know how busy we all are. You know, it's difficult, isn't it? There's not enough hours in the day. So I appreciate everybody's time. I want to make sure that I deliver as much value and information for everybody that's here, as I always try to anytime I speak to anybody or work with anybody. So what I'll do, if it's okay with everyone, I'm just going to quickly share my screen, which may take a moment. And then I can begin. Right. Can you? I can't get any feedback, but I'm assuming you can all see that. I'm just going to into this. It should go black and fill the screen, and then we should be in business. And there we go. Brilliant. It worked. That's the hardest bit done for me. Okay, it's technology. Now we're going. Should be great. Okay, so I'm going to get straight into the presentation, guys. I know a few of the names. I had a little look earlier. I'm obviously going to be doing my presentation now, so it's difficult for me to look. But hello to everybody. I know there's actually some of the people that work with Elite and are in their on this today and watching. So I want to start off first of all, if that's okay, just to introduce who I am. Not to try and show off or anything, but purely to let you know that my perspective comes from a position of experience within the industry in multiple areas. Obviously, if you're going to spend time listening to someone, you want to make sure that they're creditable and you know what they're saying is going to be valid. So I'm an author, believe it or not. Okay, it's my book, Elite Martial Arts Instructor, came out pretty much a year ago. Went straight to #1 in Amazon in all 3 categories, which was great. Consider I'm dyslexic. I didn't know how to read or write properly when I left the army when I was in my mid-20s. But I soon learned when I started applying myself to business through necessity. Obviously, when you need to, you can do it. You're a little bit more motivated than you are when you're at school, I suppose. I'm the founder and director of my organization called British Military Martial Arts. Okay, so I started that 25 years ago. Upon leaving the military, it wasn't called that then. I rebranded a couple of times as we grew and got bigger. I'm a multiple British, European, and world champion. So I competed all over the world. Most every month or 6 weeks, I'd be away somewhere, different country, fighting. I was on the top 10 team. Some of the pictures here with some of the fighters you may know. Damon Sanson, who's on the Olympic Taekwondo team. Michael Page, who's now fighting for UFC, were some of the guys that we used to compete with. So at all stages throughout my martial arts career, I've been kind of mentored and surrounded myself with people that are the very best at what they do, which is the whole idea about with the elite kind of process. Is you need to make sure you choose your tribe carefully. The people that you spend time with need to bring something to the party and be of value. Okay, your time is limited, so and your friend circles, there's only so many people you can kind of be friends with. So you need to make sure they're bringing something to the party. I know it sounds a bit selfish, but you also need to be bringing something to the party as well. Owner of the biggest chain of martial arts centres in the UK. I'm the sixth Dan, current due for me seventh Dan pretty soon. And I served for 8 years in the 3rd Battalion of the Parachute Regiment. So I'm part of British Elite Forces, joined there when I was 18. I actually was out for 20 years and rejoined back up at 45 and decided, had a second midlife crisis, my wife called it, and did all the training again. And I'm still a member of the Parachute Regiment again now, but as a reserve, and I train the recruits. So always got to be doing something, keeping myself busy, challenging myself. I'm sure a few of you there understand what I'm saying. I've done 2 operational tours. So I was actually away Northern Ireland and Kosovo. So I was actually putting my job into practice at a high level with a high level unit in dangerous situations. So you're putting your skills to the test. And I was a physical training instructor in the military as well. So I wanted to let you know about my background within the military and what I did, because a lot of what I do, the way I deliver my material and my mindset and the approach is based around the military. Okay, the military is a very organized in some areas. It's very disorganized if you're trying to get in, as I've just found out with my son. He's trying to get in, but but when it comes to what they do best, which is fighting in wars, logistics and systems and processes are black and white. Systems are done, rank structures and the way things are organized has been mimicked and copied all around the world. Okay, so why not do it when it comes to your martial arts school, which is what I've done. So my journey, I was 10 times WACO British champion, 2 times WACO European champion, 3 times world champion, and then I coached many champions as well. Don't even know how many, probably 40, 50 world champions. Elijah Revel's one of them. He's probably the most successful points fighter, light contact fighter, mat fighter, probably of his generation. So I know what I'm doing as well when it comes to the actual application of martial arts as well. Not just a muck dojo, as some people call them, even though I hate that name and it's quite bad. And it's sometimes what people might call a successful school just because theirs is and they don't know what they're doing. But rather than just having what you found, it's kind of a spectrum. You either have someone that's really good at martial arts and their students are really good, or someone's really good at business. Okay, I didn't want to meet in the middle and be mediocre at both. I wanted to be exceptional and elite in all areas. So I run the UK's most elite instructor training course. I've been running that for about 20 years as well, 4 times a year, anywhere between 8 to 12 instructors on it each time. Okay, every time I do that, it's like the first time I've ever done it. I give as much as I can. My team are there. It's a very difficult and challenging course, and I use that and I molded that over the course of time to get my students through to instructor level, and then also external people that came on board that wanted to be part of our organised. I had to vet them. It's like a 5-day long job interview. I wanted to put people under extremely challenging and difficult situations, as we would find we did in the military, and then expose the ones that aren't what they say they are, and then obviously see the ones that are good, and then bring them on board, while also training them and preparing them. And I've opened over 200 locations across the UK in the last 25 years. 30 of those were full-time centres as well. So now it's quite a different process from launching from a flat start, or then a relaunch, we call it, when they've got an existing school Okay, that might be in a full-time location or somewhere else, with the systems for that as well. Okay, so I'm going to quickly just go over what I call the four S's. Four S's. So these are the main problems within the martial arts industry as I see them. Okay, so see if you agree with me. The first one, I was just actually speaking to Louisa about this, is sign-ups. Okay, all problems are downstream of sign-ups. If you don't have enough sign-ups, you've got no other problems because you've got no school and your school is not going to last. Okay, so that is your first problem. That does not solve everything. No, you see all social media ads all over the place, or marketing ads for martial arts schools. It's quite there's a lot of that going on at the moment, which is really good. Okay, but that's not going to solve all your problems. You'll start to churn. Okay, if your systems aren't good, your processes aren't good, and your product your product is the way you deliver your classes and the standard of your students. They need to be good as well. Okay, you can have the best marketing in the world, your product sucks, or your customer service is bad, or you can't step back from what you're doing. You're only going to plateau at a certain size, but you're not going to be able to get any better or bigger than you are. The second S is sustain. So when you get people in, it's sustaining them, keeping them as long as possible. Step back. Okay, so you may all have experienced this as martial arts instructors, spinning loads of different plates, wearing lots of different hats. So this is great, and you can get yourself to about 150, 200 students, and then if you're still doing everything, you're gonna struggle. Okay, and you're gonna struggle to get much bigger than that. You're gonna break yourself in the process, which we will do because it's the nature of the beast and the way we are. And the most difficult thing is stepping back and letting go of the reins. Okay, but this is fundamental if you're going to succeed and you're going to grow. And the last one is stuck. Okay, so because they can't step back, you're in this churn and you get stuck in a rut, and people can get burnt out and totally lose all passion for what they absolutely loved initially. Which is their romance, which is martial arts, as it is for all of us. So, if any of this sounds familiar, then you're not alone. This is the problems of the industry. So, what I did is I put something together called the 6 rounds, okay, which is to solve these problems. It's a process, it's a cyclical process. So rounds 1 through to 6. Once you get to 6, you can start from 1 again. And it's a way of growing, launching from a flat start and growing and stepping back, finding the right people to help you expand, and then relaunching with these people. So round 1, I'm going to quickly move my picture up there so I can see, it is called ready. Okay, which is the military. I've done a military analogy for each of these rounds to make it a little bit more multi-dimensional and a bit more exciting. Okay, so round 1 is ready. That's getting ready. That's preparation. Okay, people forget this. People just run off, but you don't know which direction you're running in. You're not prepared properly, and you're not sure what's going to meet you when you get there. Round 2 is the relaunch or the launch night. Okay, so that's the first time you actually spring into action, do something physical. Everything's preparation. That's the military analogy for that is green on go, and I'll explain the military analogies shortly as we go through each round individually. Round 3 is rapid growth. Okay, so this is when you've launched your school. 12 to 18 months after launching is going to be basically the time you want to get most of the positive energy of all the new schools and the growth and all the excited people, and grow your school as quickly as possible as you can within that time. The military analogy for that is advance to battle. Round 4 is retention. That is keeping the students that you've got. The military analogy for that is the battle. Round 5 is the restructure, or the military analogy, the reorg. Okay, restructure is when you have built a legacy, you built something up, you now need to make sure it's set up so it can work without you, and also you need to look at the business setup. Is it an LLP? Is it a limited company? A sole trader? Okay, have you got multiple companies? Are you using a third party that you're involved in? So you need to be looking at all the structures so you become tax efficient, but also safe as well. If you build a legacy, the last thing you want to do is take advice from Big Dave down the pub, because he's done an accountant's course and he knows, and he doesn't pay any tax, he knows the way around it. You need to be with trained professionals that know what they're doing in this area. Can't repeat how important that is. this adds a lot of values to big school owners. This section here is very, very important and is overlooked a lot of the time. Round 6 is repeat. So this is training and selection of your staff from within. Okay, finding the right people, planting seeds, and then from there, getting these guys built up through the ranks, and then when they're ready, trained up, and they start round 1. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everybody. So the course content and what we're going to be covering today then is going to be part 1, which is make it grow, and that is going to be ready and the relaunch. This is all about the launch. Okay, so when I mentor people, if they've got under 100 students, or if they're just starting afresh, they are separated from everyone else, and we only focus on red on and green on go. That is it, which is the ready and the relaunch. That's all we focus on. We don't overcomplicate things and throw loads of other information. There's so much information out there, but information doesn't make you successful. It's applied, appropriate information will make you successful. Okay, lots of information not applied is the same as someone who has no information. Okay, part 2 is make it great. That is going to be the rapid growth, okay, and retention. This is once your school's up, you want to get it big, you want to retain your students, you get your systems and processes in place so your school is going to be ramped up and as efficient and well running as possible. Part 3, make a difference. This is the restructure, which I was referring to earlier, which is built a legacy, pulling yourself back, getting staff members in place, changing the financial structures of how it works, and then repeat training and selection, finding the right guys, and then using these guys to push on and open more and more locations in and around your area and totally dominate the ground, which is like we like to do with our area commanders in all of the areas. You won't just see one BMMA school by itself, you'll see multiple schools, 10, 20 locations around an area with a team of people. So hopefully that's explained the overview and that makes sense. I'm now going to go over round 1. Okay, so the military analogy for round 1 is red on. So as a paratrooper, I'm not sure if any of you know much about paratroopers, but you know they are highly trained, highly efficient, elite soldiers. They're the spearhead of the British Army when it comes to anything to do with wars. You've got special forces as well, but they are not the spearhead. They're the ones that go behind enemy lines and do small recon missions and small direct missions. We are the fighting force, okay? And we are the elite fighting force. You have to be fitter, stronger, more aggressive, more switched on. So what happens when a paratrooper is in the plane before they are dispatched out of the plane into the DZ, the drop zone, or potential war zone? There's lights in the aircraft. You've got a red light and a green light. So when the red light comes on, this signifies that the plane is almost in the perfect location to dispatch the troops. It doesn't just signify that though. It signifies, because there won't be one plane, there's going to be loads of planes, and it's going to signify that all the right people with all the right training are in the right place with the right kit. All the kit's been checked. Thousands upon thousands of checks have took place. Everybody has the right ammunition, the right weapon. The weapon's clean. They've had orders. They've got a reserve chute. They've got the normal chute. The chute has been hooked up. They've checked the person to the rear. They've checked the person to the front. Checked themselves. They've got the right amount of rations, the right amount of ammunition for the job. Okay. If one of these things are not done correctly, okay, or some of the checks aren't done properly, then it can mean life or death. It can mean you failing the mission. It can mean you dying. It could mean one of your team dying. So when you do the red on, the preparation stage for your launch, it's to be done with the same mindset, okay, as you would do if it was red on as a paratrooper. So there's no excuses for anything not to be done. Everything's done as to the letter, as it's meant to be done, and it's double, triple checked. Okay. So all the processes and systems I've got work if you have the correct mindset. Okay. If they don't work and you do them half-heartedly, it's like doing a half-hearted diet. Okay. You can eat a really healthy salad for your lunch, but then if you're eating an inappropriate meal in the evening, or you're not moving appropriately, you're not going to get the results. It's exactly the same. So that is the military analogy for this. So I'm now going to quickly explain about the 80-20 rule. So you may have heard this before. It's really important for my talk today, though. By the way, Lou said it will be an hour, just to let you know, it'll probably be closer to an hour and a half. I hope that's okay, guys. And I will also spend as long as anyone needs at the end, answering as many questions as possible. Okay, so 80-20 rule is about input and output. So you don't just do X amount of effort and get, I'll give you an example. You don't, if you were to do some marketing, if you do to 10 forms of marketing, you wouldn't get equal responses back from every form of marketing. According to the 80-20 rule, 20% of the marketing would give you 80% of the results. Okay. So what you can do with that information is quite important, because you can, rather than wasting your money, you can just spend 20% of the money, or you can spend 100% of your money on the 20% that works. Okay. The 80-20 rule is in everything as well. 80% of the students you teach will be primary school children. Okay. So when we do marketing, we market 100% to primary school kids. Okay. This is how you get your school big. You can market for adults, it costs you the same, but you're going to get a lot less results and a lot less reliability and take up. So we get all our adults, a lot of our adults, from paid adult classes, ladies only classes, short like 4-week courses, and then we are all parents. That's how we get them in. Okay, so 80% of the time you wear the same 20% of your clothes in the wardrobe. 80% of the problems you get will be from 20% of your students or their parents. 80% of the money is earned by 20% of the people. 80% of the students that do martial arts are with 20% of the schools. Okay, so it's important to understand the imbalancing thing in life, in business, in relationships, and then focus on what is working and spend all your time doing that, which is basically all I do. I won't waste my time doing everything if I'm not getting equal results from it. I will find the most important things and then spend all my time doing that. Okay, processes of learning then. Okay, this is important because you may experience this, hopefully experience a little bit of this on the webinar today, but you would have definitely experienced it at some stage in your martial arts, the process of learning. So to start off with, you're unconsciously incompetent. So that means you're not very good, but you have no idea because you've not exposed yourself to that particular thing. So like the average man thinks they're about 300 times harder than they actually really are. Something stupid like that. Don't paraphrase me, but something like that. Everyone overestimates how good they are at something until they actually do it. So you go to your first martial arts class, for example, and then you become consciously incompetent when you get roundhoused in the face by a 15-year-old or choked out by them. Shouldn't be doing that in your first class, by the way. You should have a proper beginner's class. But just as an example, all of a sudden you are now consciously incompetent, which means you're not very good and you've just become aware of it. Okay. Now, this is great because this is where learning actually happens. It can't happen if you're unconsciously incompetent. It's the same when people, when I mentor people, people come and work with us. You don't know what you don't know. People don't want to know it sometimes because it opens up a massive can of worms that they just don't want to deal with. But deal with it. You want to be successful. You've got to be honest and you've got to look at everything. Okay. So you become consciously incompetent. You might learn something today about the industry or about business that you didn't know, and you go, do you know what, I'm not very good at this and I don't know much. And if that happens to you, that is brilliant. That is really powerful, as long as you act on it and don't do what other people do and maybe not do that thing again or expose themselves to being uncomfortable. Then you become consciously competent. So for anyone here who's trained fighters competitions, when someone gets to a senior grade, getting towards the black belt sections, and they start to be able to put everything into practice, but it takes a lot of extra coaching, pointing stuff out, and they're having to really think about stuff and being conscious of the implementation of the things that they're learning. And then you have unconscious competence, which is mastery. So we've all seen top level performers, fighters, dancers, rappers, whatever it may be, at the top level where thought isn't needed because they've spent, they reckon 10,000 hours is what it is to become mastery. So someone who spent thousands and thousands of hours on something can do something. They can do it very well in an instant without thought. Thought's too slow almost. So it needs to be a whole process, which is just absorbed by your body. So part of the red on then is business plan. So if someone's gone, oh, boring, that's exactly what I did. But if you don't put pen to paper and understand what your target audience is, what your market is, what you're doing that's different, you're never going to really know what direction you're properly moving in. Okay. So sometimes people will only be responsive to the stimulus around them, and they won't actually plan aggressively, positively, and meaningfully with intent where they want to go. They just respond to stuff. Oh, my students are down, I'll put a Facebook ad on. Okay. Then numbers are up, they feel okay, so they stop marketing and they ease off a little bit. Okay. Good is the enemy of great. As soon as people get comfortable, comfortable is not good for success. Okay. As soon as people get comfortable, they ease off. Okay. And a lot of people do this unconsciously, but a lot of people do this in lots of areas. Some people lose weight until they get not fat, so they can start enjoying life again. A lot of people do this in business all the time, so they put their attention on more important things. Okay, you want to be successful, your business needs to be one of the most important things in your life consistently, and your attention needs to be constantly on it. Okay, otherwise you will do this yourself. Also, no plan survives contact, as they say in the military. So you make a plan and then you test and adjust on the ground with live information as it's coming in. Okay, but you still know the objective. The objective is not going to change, but the path and the route to get there may change according to whatever stimulus is coming in. Mission statement. Okay, so mission statement is powerful. This is something I didn't do for ages, didn't want to do, I wasn't interested in doing it. But I'll tell you the reason it's important is because it's your purpose, your values, and your vision of your school. So if you think about this, if you don't know what these are, how will you know what type of marketing to put out? What type of visuals would you put out for your marketing? What type of interaction and experience do you want your staff and your students to have when they interact? So your mission statement will dictate this. I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example of two brands, which you're probably very familiar with in the martial arts world. Okay, who's watched Cobra Kai? You have Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. Okay, two very distinct brands, aren't they? You may agree. That's what they are. They're brands. Okay, they're logos. And even the music, when you watch it, will change as the new logo comes up. And say, for example, Cobra Kai come on. What are they wearing? They're wearing black. Sleeves are cut off. It's like a rebellion against tradition. And what's their mission statement? Strike hard, strike first, no mercy, or something. I think it. So that tells you a lot. So if you can imagine what their marketing would be like to try and get that image across, then you can see the importance of a mission statement. You just stab it in the dark if you don't really know who you are first, where you are grounded before you move forwards. You need to know where you are on the map first. Karate, what's the other one called? The Miyagi-Do. Okay, so what's that? That is non-violence. You got a bonsai tree on the back. Nice fluty music comes on, isn't it? When Danielson's on there doing his little catters very badly on the sand and stuff. So you can understand, I don't know what their mission statement is or their marketing, but if Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai were writing mission statements and they were to be delivering ads on Facebook, you would imagine they'll be quite different. So you've got to understand where you are. So I've done, this is the mission statement for Elite. Is to inspire and educate as many people as possible to teach martial arts professionally so they can positively impact as many lives around the world. Okay, that's pretty powerful, isn't it? So it needs to be something bigger than yourself that other people can buy into. And now, British Military Martial Arts, this is my franchise, our mission statement: to provide consistent, high-quality professional martial arts classes to children and adults in the local community and help change people's lives so they can be the best versions of themselves. Okay, so there's an example: purpose, values, and vision. So this is something you can do with yourself. And this is what I do when anyone I work with, when we onboard them, is they do a mission statement. They do a financial plan, which we're going to talk about now. Mission statement, financial plan, and a business plan. And then we look at their timetable, their price structures. I don't even bring them into the proper mentoring group till we've set a foundation for that we can build on and move forwards with. Financial plan then. So you can either go on to leematthewsofficial.com or you can go directly to Nest, because Nest are the ones that do it, and they will run a 1 hour financial planning session with you. You should do this every year and Nest will help you. There's so much out there to help you guys. Okay. But if you're not in there doing it and participating, then you're not going to benefit. So with this financial plan, you look, say for example, you have 100 students, but you want 200. You would write in the financial plan, 100 students, January 2025. You want 100, 200 students by January 2026. The algorithm will work out how many students you need to sign up each month according to seasonal variations. And then then you'll see how many leads you'll need in order to sign those amounts up. Then you can work out your marketing. Okay, so if you just put in marketing on willy-nilly, then you've got no real goals. You go, right, I want 100, 200 students. I've got 100. Okay, I need to be signing 15 people a month. Okay, I'm going to need 30 leads a month, right? In order to do that on Facebook, I'm going to have to spend X amount of money. I'm going to do one primary school a month as well. I should get X amount off that. And then you can work out your financial plan. Okay. So you've got to make sure you plan with these things. I have a financial plan and a P&L for every one of the schools that I'm involved in. Not all my franchisees, they all do those separately. But any ones that I own and I'm a part of, every month I'm looking at the numbers, every month. So it's really important to do that. And it's not as difficult as you think. Murphy's 3 laws, then I want you to remember this, guys, when you're doing anything. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Nothing is as easy as it looks. And everything takes longer than you think it will. Okay, so bear this in mind. And this is why people get bored and they try to do something and then they get fed up with it and then they stop doing it. And they keep doing that over and over again with lots of different things rather than staying on task on one thing, persevering and keeping going down that path and fine tuning things and getting them better. Okay, that's round 1 done. That is the preparation round. We haven't done anything physical. We've done all the preparation, okay, with the mindset as a paratrooper, as we said earlier. Every attention to detail is done exactly as we've said. Not doing the things you like and leaving the things you don't like or the things that make you feel uncomfortable, okay? Don't care how you feel. You need to do the things that need to be done. Round 2, the relaunch or the launch night, okay? So the military analogy for this is green on go. So as the plane comes through, the red light comes on. That means prepare to jump. Everything is in place. Everything's been checked. When the green light comes on, go. The number 1 in the door will be dispatched out of the door. The number 1, I've been number 1 multiple times. He stood at the door. Okay, you've got all your kit on. Bearing in mind, some of the kit you wear for some of the smaller people weighs more than them. And your kit is held in front of you and hooked onto hooks here on your body. You've got your reserve chute on the front and your proper parachute on your main parachute on your back and your helmet on. Okay, and it's disgustingly hot and uncomfortable. Lots of people have been sick. It's not a very comfortable ride. It's not like a normal commercial airline. And you stand up before you jump. You stand up about an hour before you're dispatched. Okay, and you've got to be there with all your stuff hooked on half an hour before because they can't miss the green light. Okay, so you have to be ready. So it doesn't matter how you feel. They need to make sure when the green light's goes, everyone's dispatched and all the paratroopers are gone. So it's uncomfortable. You just want to get out the plane. And as you just are dispatched and you leave the door, you go from control into chaos. Okay, so it's obviously terrifying. Sometimes you're jumping at night as well and you're only 800 meters off the floor, so you're only in the air for about 45 seconds and you need to do your drills exactly as they're meant to be done properly, or you could smash your legs on the floor and break them, have life-changing injuries. Or if you don't do it properly, you could meet another paratrooper around the back of the plane who's been dispatched from the other side, and your parachutes could deploy around each other. And it doesn't matter if your reserve is pulled at that stage, you're just going to come soaring to the floor. So you are doing everything properly. Obviously, you jump out 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, look up, check your canopy. First thing you want to make sure is your canopy is above your head. Okay, that means you're going to should live. And once that's there, then it just depends on what state you're going to get into the ground. Next thing you do is you look around into your airspace to make sure there's no other paratroopers near you. If there are, you tell them to steer away and you collapse your chute the other side to try and move. It doesn't work very well. Then you release your equipment, which is stuck to you, and that will hang by a rope about 2 meters below you. So that's that bit done. Then you're looking at the floor, seeing where the wind's going to blow you and getting ready to prepare for the landing. And as you hit the floor, you roll into the landing and immediately wrap your chute up so you don't get pulled off. Okay, so that is the actions of green on go. That's what a paratrooper does. So that is the military, that is the analogy for the actual launch night. So the launch night is your first practical night of doing something active. I'm just going to go over some of this now. So what I want you to be aware of as well, guys, is anything you do, especially when you're creating change in your school, and I trust me, I've done this. I did it all wrong from the start. I was quite naive and young, made all the mistakes, made all the changes, and experienced all the negativity that came with it. And I must have spent, and I'm not joking now, over thousands of nights awake, or most of the night stressing out over customers, students, changes I've made, what I thought people were going to think. Um, I did it to the extent that I almost wore my own mind out. So I'm not bothered about stuff anymore. I've experienced everything. I've implemented changes. I've got all the negative back from it. And it's never as bad as you think. All of it's made up in your mind, and it can be exacerbated by the wrong people around you as well. So be aware of negative people and their mindsets. Sometimes it can be people very close to you. It can be people that care about you. A lot of times people that are trying to stop you from doing stuff or scare you out of it is because they want to keep you safe. And that goes against being safe and comfortable, goes against being successful. So you just need to bear that in mind. Do you want to be comfortable, or do you want to be successful? Okay, H hour then. So in the military, H hour is the hour, the time that the operation is happening. It's when it's going down. This is our name we're going to be calling the launch night. Okay, so this is the night of the launch. So whenever you do anything, I'm going to roll through these because this can take me, I can spend 2 hours on this in itself. You arrive early. If you're on time, you're late, guys. Okay, you want to be there 30 minutes before the first person, before the class starts, and you want to be there 15 minutes before the first person rocks up. Okay, you don't want to be there in your civvies, you're not in your uniform, in a flap, unorganized. Get everything set up. If I'm doing something or I'm speaking in public, I get there the day before. I recce everywhere. I know exactly what's going on. Check the power sources, what I need for my computer. Like, and you should. This is good drill to do with everything. Prepare to make sure you prepare. If you don't prepare properly, then you're going to leave yourself open to the problems which will inevitably happen on the day. Check your equipment. Meet and greet. This is a novel one. Okay. Be friendly. Be charismatic, and get yourself out there. Don't just sit in the background like you're the grandmaster and you know, people should come to you, or you're dismissive with people. You need to be charismatic and interact with people. You should know everyone's name that's turning up for an intro. If you're doing a mass intro, which we do when we do multiple launches, then I like to make sure that I know everyone's names. We put name tags on if you're not very good at remembering names. Make sure you've got your class format sorted. When you finish the class, make sure you debrief them and you give a proper call to action on whatever your call to action is, something that's going to make them want to do it immediately, maybe a special offer. In order for a call to action to work, you need to create what's called a funnel though. So when I do a launch night, I do a group launch, okay? I'll launch in primary schools. If I've got an instructor, and I've done this 10 times now, I own 10 schools with one instructor, okay? And they do 2 schools a night in primary schools with over 300 children, work the 80-20 rule, okay? And then we launch with an assembly. We do all the things that we do in our systems, which I do on our Elite Red On mentoring, which is just for the launch. So we do that, and we can launch within a month. You can ask Lou this because she's seen us do it loads of times. We can get between 150 and 180 people in a month signed up by opening within 1 month 10 locations. Remember, that's why the Red On is so important, because all that planning and preparation done first. That may take 2 or 3 months, and then when it comes to Green On, we open all 10 schools within that month, an assembly and a launch. So you should create a massive excitement within the local area. You channel them in, so you got about 15 to 20 people on each intro, more sometimes. I've had 50, 60 people in on an intro, okay? The more you get, the better it is, because you can say, you can do a special offer only for the first 20. If you've got more than 20 there, or throughout the night or throughout the week, you can use that as leverage, okay? If you've got a scattering of people there, you can't leverage your position to get them in. So you need to be assertive and have a strong call to action, and then sell and sign them. If you're uncomfortable with signing, get over it. Okay, make that your 80-20. Make that the thing you need to improve upon. Okay, because you're never going to be successful otherwise. Okay, success doesn't care if you're comfortable at something or not. Create scarcity. Do your confirmation texts. Confirming someone's appointment is one of the most important things um, for your show up rate and your sign up rate. You need to make sure when we confirm them, we make them text us back, yes, they're coming. And if they don't, we just keep stalking them. We just keep texting them and texting them and ring them until they've confirmed they're coming. And then we tell them there's a special offer and they've got to bring a method of payment. Make sure the person that can make the decision is there because we're oversubscribed. We're telling them we're managing their expectations and setting them up to buy on the day. Okay, if you don't do any of that because you're too shy to speak about anything, then you're going to struggle on the day when it comes to signing. Okay, there's the first 2 rounds. Round 3 then is rapid growth. So the military analogy for this is advance to battle. Okay, so as a paratrooper, you've landed on the DZ. First thing you do is get your weapon serviceable. So you get that up because it'll be probably on the container that you jump with your equipment, unless you jump in overhead assault because it's a live DZ, then you might have it on you. But the first thing you do is you are ready with your weapon so you're able to fight. Next thing you do is you get your kit sorted on your back and your RV at a set point with the rest of your platoon. Okay, you would have been told this in your orders, and the first thing you do when you land is identify where that RV point is. You'll see everyone headed towards it. You'll head over there as fast as possible. They'll gather all your guys up, do a nominal roll in peacetime. They'll do a nominal roll, and then they will make sure they've got everybody and go. In reality, in a war zone, they will get enough men for the job as quickly as possible, and then they would advance to battle. So they would then double, which means run with kit, anywhere from 2 to 10 miles, which is what paratroopers are the best at running at. 2 to 10 miles with full kit, as rapid and as fast as you can. Okay, you've got to seize the initiative, and you've got to use that momentum to get yourself to the start line. Okay, so this is talking about now the advance to battle, the rapid growth phase of your school. So it needs that much intensity and energy. Once you've launched your school successfully, you want to then grow it as quickly as possible while you've got all these positive and motivated people and enthusiastic people in your school. Okay, hierarchy of values. So everybody here is already successful at the things that are important to them. Okay, whether you know it or not, everybody knows someone who likes to save money. Okay, they've always got money saved. Everybody knows someone who's always got money for clothes or always likes to go on holiday, or someone whose main priority is their business. They're always on their business is super successful, or it might be their family. Okay, and the family time is all that matters to them. Whatever it is, as it currently stands for everybody, you will already be, you could be a drug addict, hope not, but these guys will always be, always make sure that they've got that to hand. You know, we probably experienced that at some stage in your life, unfortunate people. But wherever you are in life, whatever your hierarchy of values are, whatever is at the top of that, you'll always have time, money, and effort and energy for. Okay, so if you're not currently succeeding in your school, you need to, a good drill is to write down what you are putting your time, effort, and energy on. Okay, a lot of martial arts instructors will be that ones that I know with, because I fought on the tournament scene a lot, is tournaments, and they've got some of the best fight squads, and they're winning all the trophies, and they're piss poor broke, unfortunately. And I was lucky enough to have a really big successful fight team and fight myself, and was fortunate to not be in that position because I'd built a whole system underneath me with hundreds and hundreds of students when I was young. I've got obviously thousands now. I had hundreds of students underneath me at quite a young age, and I was able to go away. Financially, these would support me, and then the tip of those would be my fight squad and my advance. And then, but most people are the opposite way around, and they might have top heavy. I'll go on to that later on. I'll look at the school structures, but you need to make sure you're aware of what your values are, your hierarchies of values are, because everybody is currently successful in those areas. Human default mode. Has anyone heard of this before? Let's go have a quick drink. Basically means we are all lazy and we have default levels of work, the things that we resort and drop back down to. So everyone's lazy, whether you know it or not. You're subconsciously lazy. In fact, if you wasn't lazy, if you just willy-nilly just went and just burned unnecessary calories in years gone by, you would probably have died because you wouldn't have enough resources to replace them. So you need to, your body, make sure that it will only put effort and energy onto the things that it's going to get something positive back from. So what you need to realize is that, and I'll give you a couple of examples of human default mode, is that we are lazy, people are lazy. And once you recognize you are, you can then overcome it. Okay. So I'll give you an example. In France, they were really struggling at getting organ donors. Okay, so they really struggled getting organ donors, and they were trying to get people to opt into it, and it wouldn't work. So what they had to do in the end is they made it by default. Everybody, if you died, would have their organs donated to charity, to the hospitals, to go out to, whoever needed them, unless you opted in. And because you had to opt in, hardly anyone um, sorry, unless you had to opt out, sorry, but because you have to do something to opt out, hardly anyone opted out, and they solved the problem. Okay, so if you've all done it, you've subscribed to something and it's dead easy to get into it and it's very difficult to get out of. Okay, that's a whole business model for some people, because they know people are lazy and they'll leave it months and months, years sometimes, because it's only a small fee and they can't be bothered to get out because it's too complicated and they're going to have to ring someone and spend half a day on the phone. Okay, they understand that. So you need to think about default mode, systemizing stuff. I've done this in my franchise, as Lou will probably tell you, much to their annoyance probably at Nest. But we've automated loads of things, so that certain fees come to me automatically. I'd have to chase people for it. You can do this with your school as well. You have a think about what you can do. Say, for example, kit sales. They need to be at integrated as part of one of the belts. We have it as part of one of our first belts. So you have to wear your kit to your graded. If not, then you don't do it. If you just make it optional or you suggest it, they won't do it. If you make it a system which they can't bypass unless they have, then people will do it. Okay, so just bear that in mind and think about how that can be used in your school to get leverage. Controversial character at the minute. I did make this before he got in trouble, but I just don't think it's problem. It's about good problems and bad problems. Big P Diddy's got quite a lot of bad problems at the minute, but he did have a song called "Mo Money, Mo Problem." Okay, and the gist of the song is the more money you get, the more problems you get. Okay, so you're never going to get that big that all your problems go away. In fact, I'm here to tell you quite the opposite happens. Okay, the bigger you get, the more problems you will get. But what will need to change is your approach to them and the way you look at them. They're not problems. That's work for me. I get up and I make something that's bad, something that's good. Okay. And that's what I do constantly throughout the day. And then I have a different approach. I try and find problems. Okay. I try and find things that aren't good and make them bad. The ways that aren't good and make them good. Okay. So once you can do this and you can change your relationships to problems, you can actually get freedom in them. Okay, because a lot of people have a default level of problems. Like, most people are happy, and then they'll get one problem and that will stress them a little bit, get two problems, not having a good time, and then they've got a third or fourth one and they're having a nervous breakdown. Okay, because they want that to be sorted. As soon as that's sorted, I'll be okay. But that mindset, you're not suitable to be successful in that mindset. You literally need to dance in the storm and be happy with things going wrong, but have the confidence to know that in this chaos, you trust yourself to consistently sort the problem out, whatever it is. Okay. So I wanted to bring that to people's attention and want you to recognize that, because you will need that mindset change in order to be successful. Quickly going to talk about marketing tunnels. I'm taking loads of time on some of this, so I'm going to skip through a little bit of this. A marketing funnel is a way of marketing and bringing people into your school. 5% of people are ready to buy, even if they're suitable, but there are only 5% who will be ready to buy there and then. So the other 95% might be suitable, but just little Johnny's doing something else at the minute, or they're going on holiday, or they want to do it after Christmas, or they've just not got the money at the minute, or whatever it might be. So this is what a marketing funnel is. It's getting the people that are suitable but aren't ready to buy now. And in order for them to build confidence in you, they reckon they need to see 7 hours of viewed material. So I don't know if any of you have seen me before, but I have a lot of material that goes out. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's Lee Matthews Official, and I post every single day. I run podcasts, I interview people, I've got bits from when I speak. So what I try to do is create value consistently and also build trust. because your brain doesn't know the difference between a friend and someone it's watched on the TV over and over again. So, for example, if you like Jason Statham or Arnold Schwarzenegger in a film, you build up a picture of them. Your brain has a relationship with them, and it doesn't know the difference between them and a family member or a friend. You feel, and when they come on, you want to see them. You associate them with positive things, and it's the same with marketing. So if someone watches you over and over again, and they build up trust, they feel like they know you, which they do get to know you if you're genuine, which is what it should be. It shouldn't be staged. You're just giving people an opportunity to view you, who you are, and then what will happen if they keep seeing your material and then they keep seeing stuff. Eventually, you give them something free, so it's just data capture opportunity. So you can then offer them a free offer of something, okay, and you build up trust because they get to see some of the information, especially if you're not that well known. This is a great way to gain interest from people. You can automate a lot of this as well. Nest have got email marketing flows that they can do, so which you can build a database up, and you can put regular little bits of offers and all sorts out there to try and pull people in. Face-to-face marketing, then school visits. So again, in line with the rapid growth part of round 3 here, advanced to battle, this is all about growing your school and what you can do for the systems. School visits are one of the best ways of recruiting people, and they cost nothing. They cost time, okay, that's all. But you need to become a person of influence in your community. As a martial arts instructor, we're very important to people, and we have a lot of sway over things, and we mean a lot to a lot of people. So you need to build yourself up as a person of key influence in your community. You can do that via your social media as well. You can go and visit schools. Um, Schools should be contacting you once you've done the rounds on them all, because they have boxes to tick, and they must bring certain people in out from outside the curriculum, and you can fulfill that for them and help them out if you build up a good trusted relationship. Parent Teacher Association, PTA. Okay, if you've got students already, which I'm sure you have, and some of them are children, okay, they will go to primary schools, and some of the mums or dads will be PTAs, Parent Teacher Association. So find out, just ask them if you've got a WhatsApp group for communication, or you've got in class, you can ask out. Find out if one of your students' mums or dads is in the PTA, and ask them to get you into the assembly. They will get you in. They're the ones that make decisions within the school and help things, okay? You can do Best Student Award, okay? You should do that every month for each class. That gives you a reason to go into each school. Belt presentations every 3 months, okay? PE classes, sports days, parents' evenings, summer fates. These are great. I love it when it's summer or like May or June. All the schools are doing summer fates. All you need is a gazebo, because it's England and it might rain. A pull-up banner, tablecloth maybe if you want one, some flyers, 4 mats, set of focus pads. And then even if you haven't got any students, you can just pull the kids from there and maybe run a little competition. Who can do the most punches in 10 seconds or something, and then put in for a prize to win a T-shirt or a set of gloves, but also win a free intro class at that stage. Oh, what's happened to my presentation's just gone off. 1 second, guys. Something's just happened to my presentation. Is Louisa there still? You there, Lou?
Hiya, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Do you want to speak to everyone while I just see what's just happened? Can you see
Yeah.
my? Can you see it still, or is it gone your end?
No, it's just black at the moment. I think it's probably just loading. Let's just give it a couple of minutes to load.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Um, no, we always have these little blips. It's okay.
Yeah.
Guys, I hope you're enjoying it. If you've got any comments at the moment, use
What I'll
this
do,
time.
I'm going to unshare, then reshare, and have a little look and share again. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you've got any questions, guys, while we're doing this, just let us know.
yeah. I think they're all absorbing the information. It's a
Good.
hell of a lot, isn't it?
And
So
it is,
much
yeah. I do.
to take
Apologise.
away.
There's a lot. I
No,
get.
no, it's like a culmination of tons of great advice all in 6 months.
Yeah, that's it. Right, 1 second, guys. I'm just going to reload it here. While Louise is going to sing you a little song to keep you all entertained.
John Swift says, quality job, Lee.
Thanks, John. Cheers. For those of you that don't know John Swift, I'm sure you've all heard of the brand Verb. John's one of the guys in the Elite 1000 Club. Okay, this is a very special elite group of all the top school owners. John's, I'm not going to say his numbers, but he's got thousands of students as well. And he's a good friend and a very successful guy. So we're very lucky to have people like that that we work with as well.
And he's also a nice chap.
He's also an extremely nice chap, which also helps. The good thing is about business guys as well, so have to excuse me just while I search through all this, is you only need to work with people that you like. Okay. In fact, I suggest you only do that because it can be very stressful if you start entertaining people that um, aren't in line with your values, and you try and keep these guys happy. Right then, I think I'm.
Nearly there. I'm just going to kick Kevin Blewett off the call because he said he's going to switch off if I start singing.
Did he?
He's a
Go on,
goner.
let's put a song. Wait a
No.
second.
Did have a really good comment actually from Nicoletta.
Yeah, yeah. I know Nicoletta. How are you
Yeah,
doing?
she says it all sounds like brilliant advice, but a lot for a one-woman club.
Yeah, it is. Where it's all about. There's a lot of advice, but it's all about. Remember, I said earlier, it's not about information, it's about implemented information. So what I'm doing, I'm casting my nets quite wide at the minute, and I'm giving people lots of information. I want to make you consciously incompetent, basically, so you realize, actually, I don't know much. Then it's about taking you from your personal on your personal journey from wherever you are forward from that point. So what are the priorities of things that you'd need to do for yourself first? Because there is so much information out there, you can get what's called analysis paralysis,
Mhm.
which is there's too much information. I don't even know where to start or what to do at this point. So if you feel like that, don't worry. What I do, people feel like this when they're around us. So what we then do is we subgroup people into, when I work with people, I subdivide them down into people of similar sizes, and we focus on their immediate problems.
Okay, is it working now, Lee?
Might be. Can you see my screen now, guys?
Yeah, I can.
This should go in. Oh shit! I've just put from the beginning. Should have done current slide. Never mind. As long as it works, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I think while Lee's finding that, yeah, I agree, Nicolette. It does seem overwhelming, but Lee works with clubs of all different sizes, and all of this, you can take bits of it depending on what size your club is and implement it at that level and the resource that you have. So I think that's stuff that Lee does when he works with clients. He understands where you are in the business and then how to implement this with what you've got to work
Yeah,
with.
absolutely. What I will do as well, I'll talk a little bit about it at the end. But for anyone who's interested, we've got a free book for everybody today, by the way. If you want one, we will give a free book if you manage to sustain the whole time with me on this webinar. You deserve a prize. So I'll give you a signed copy of one of my books. And if anyone's interested, I'll talk about the mentoring at the end. If you're not, that's cool as well. But and I'll do a free consultation with you as well. Look at where you're at personally in your business. Right, we're back in action. Can everyone see that? Is that right, Louise?
Yeah, that's fine. Right, I'll
Round
leave.
4 then is the battle. So, military analogy for this is the battle. This is retention. Okay, this is what this round is: retention, retaining people, keeping your students as long as possible. Okay, nothing's worse than when your students are dropping off and you're doing all that work and you're bringing them in and then they're leaving out the back door. Okay, I think the average is about 5% in the UK. Lou might tell me otherwise, 5 or 6%. Okay, so if you're above that, then you've got problems inside with your systems. If you're about 5%, that's not bad. Some people have lower, okay, which is great. The lower you can get it, the better. People will leave though, unfortunately. And it's not very nice. It hurts. You take it personally, but life happens to people and they're just not able to stay all the time. So the military analogy for this is the battle. So as a paratrooper, you've jumped out the plane, you've landed, you've raced to the start line, okay, advance to battle with all your kit on. You strip your other kit off, and now you've just got your fighting order on. You are now at the start line, okay? Now you're about to go into the battle. So everything you've done before that point is so what? That's just to get you to the start line. This is why you need to be so fit. Now you need to fight the battle of your life with everything you've got, okay, and overwhelm the enemy. So this is about retention. Retention is the battle for martial arts instructors. Now, with retention, there's not just one big thing I can give you that will just go solve all your problems. Okay, it's like a bucket with lots of holes in it, and it's about plugging those holes, and it's about lots of small things done consistently. Okay, any successful people that you know will be consistent, and they will do. It's the small things. They can be, if you know someone who's got a great physique, okay, they'll be regularly, especially if they're in the 30s, late 30s and 40s, doesn't happen by accident at that age. You know, they're going to be very precise with what they do every day with their training, with their eating, with what they drink. If someone's accumulated a lot of money, they would be very disciplined in their behaviors, okay? Because you can earn a lot of money, but saving money is very different. Okay, you can earn a lot of money and then you can spend a lot of money at the same time and still be broke, because that is a broke mindset. Okay, so it's doing lots of small things consistently. Okay, daily habits are important. So you take on board a new habit, and you take on board the new habit and you do it, and you do it regularly. 21 days it is to develop a new habit, they reckon. And then once you're doing it, like you don't need to think about brushing your teeth, do you? Well, I hope not. Some of you mingers out there, you should be brushing your teeth every day and every morning and evening without even thinking. Okay, but you don't when you're a kid. Okay, you don't want to brush your teeth. It's horrible for some reason. Kids never wanted to brush their teeth. Okay, and it's such a simple thing to do. But as you get older, you don't think about brushing your teeth. It's a habit. You don't think about having breakfast. Okay, but some people, if they didn't brush their teeth, they didn't have breakfast. Okay, they didn't go to bed early. Like, these things compound. If you keep adding time to something, that person's going to break down. Their teeth will get bad. They're going to get really tired. They're going to look bad. They're going to be unhealthy. So once you've established something as a habit, you can then establish the next habit. Okay, but you've got to own it first. It's got to be part of your daily repertoire. Or if it's not part of your daily repertoire, it has to become a system which is planned, which you do regularly, and it's checked off. Okay, that's how you develop habits. Dieting, training, reading. If you just read 15 minutes a day, you read about 5 books a year. Okay, it's just small things done consistently. Add time, make a really big difference. Okay, relationships. Okay, you can't just be horrible and then be nice for a couple of days and give flowers. Okay, you need to be doing small regular things. Apparently, so I'm told. I'm only joking, but yeah, you got to do small things regularly to keep everything working well. Leads and intros. Okay, if you got this, is what happens with people. Sometimes they do loads of marketing, like a paid Facebook ad. They get loads of leads in, and easy come, easy go. It's like someone with loads of money coming in. Okay, so they're just loose with it. You treat every single lead as if it's £600 a year, which it should be if they sign up. You treat every single lead as if it's the most important thing in your business every single time you deal with it. Okay, and then when that person shows up for an intro, you deal with that person like they're the most important individual in your business at that time, as they are. Little things done as best as they can be done is what makes success. Class delivery and teaching. Every class you do should be the best class you've ever done. Okay, that's the way we train people. You plan, you deliver. Okay, and then the next time you try and make it even better. You look at what was wrong. You look at how you can improve it. That is the mindset you have, and that's the mindset all of your staff should have. They shouldn't be clock watching or trying to get through the night. Okay, in my course, my 5-day course, we spend loads of time. A massive chunk of it is on the delivery of our product, which is our classes. Okay, statistics and monitoring. Right, the statistics of your business are it's like the dials in your car. If you're driving somewhere and you don't know how far it is and you don't know how fast you're going or how much petrol you've got, you're never going to get there. You're going to run out of petrol or you're going to misjudge something. So your statistics are so important for your business. They're that important that we do our stats, as John Swift will tell you, every single Monday morning in our WhatsApp groups. All the groups will put their regular Monday morning stats up. There's loads of different stats you can get for your business. You can look at how much it costs you to sign someone up. But we look at just the main ones to start with. Let's get this as a habit, which we enforce because we're making you do it every Monday, is what your student numbers are. Okay. So I speak to someone, oh, I've got 100 students. Okay. Oh, brilliant. That's great. What's your active student numbers? Okay. So what these are, I'm going to show you some overall statistics here, but I'm going to quickly tell you about the stats that we do. We do student numbers and active student numbers. Say someone said they've got 100 students. You'll actually find Big Dave's kids come and he helps out. So we don't charge everyone. We don't charge, we only charge it. When the time you look at it, they're probably charging 85 people. Okay. So your numbers are 85 then, because who pays you with the students? I don't care about the ego numbers. I want to know about monetary value and people paying. That's your students. Then you look at your active students. That's the people that have been in that week. Okay. So you might have only had 60 in. So your real numbers are 60, not 100 as far as I'm concerned, because you've only had 60 people train that week. Students are either closer to black belt or closer to leaving. So if they've been in that week, they're safe. Those 60 are safe because they've been sweating, kicking, punching, they've been associating with the team. It's all good. And if they haven't, there's a question mark over the other ones, because they're the ones that are more likely to leave, the ones that have not been in, because they're going to get out of the habit. So what you need to do is look at your students' numbers, your active student count, and then the gap between those are the ones you're going to be contacting. You're going to be messaging them, bringing them up. We missed you in class. Are you coming? Okay. And when they come into class, you give those a little bit of an extra TLC and monitoring them. But just watching these numbers helps. You'll also put how many people counselled last week, how many people signed up last week, and how many intros you have for this week. And if the numbers look bad, then good. Then you know to look at them. I want you to look at how bad those numbers are, so you're motivated to do something, not stick your head in the sand. Your job is to make sure there's always intros in every single week when you look at your stats, and that your intros coming in are higher than the council going out. Other things you can keep stats for are your intros, student retention, and financial stats as well. Dojo management. Okay, so I'm just get a drink. Again, I'm really passionate about this side of stuff. Being a military physical training instructor, this was my bread and butter, was delivering high energy, exciting, and challenging classes, pitched in at the right level, appropriately for the right people that I was training. Okay, which is important because I'll be managing paratroopers at various level of their training, so it needs to be appropriate for where they're at. Okay, so I have a whole bit in my 5-day course what we do, which is in the book as well, guys, which I said I'll give you a copy of, which goes over how to make your dojo classes better. So lots and lots of little things done by you and your team can create a whole different vibe. Okay, I've took my son to multiple classes all around Liverpool. Some great martial artists. I don't have a club in Liverpool, unfortunately. I've got them everywhere else. So I had to take him to other people. And there's some really good martial artists, but they don't do all this stuff, okay, which could really bring it to another level. So your meet and greet, we spoke about that earlier. Your appearance, okay, the appearance of you and the appearance of your dojo. There's an expression in the military, which is bullshit baffles brains, okay? And what that means is paint the grass green, okay, line things up in color order, in size order. Like if you walk into a room, the CO walks into the room for inspection and everything's smart and tidy and lined up in color orders. Okay, these guys are on the ball. They're good at what they do. They're good soldiers. Okay, that's basically it. They said like with airlines as well. If you fly in an airline and you pull the tray down and there's a coffee stain on it, your assumption is that they're going to have a dirty engine and that the plane's going to crash. Okay, so it's not. So it's the appearance and it's the assumptions that you'll make. So it's really important that you look the part, because your martial arts and how good your martial arts is based upon your professionalism, your appearance, and the way that they're dealt with in class. Okay, and the way your dojo looks. And it's a shame because there's so many good martial artists and they teach out of shitholes, and they could be so much better. Attention to smaller details make a big difference. How you stand as well. There's certain ways that we teach our instructors to stand. Okay, you're not going to be stood there with your arms crossed or your hands on your hips. Okay, or leaning on anything. You need to be stood there. You look lazy. Okay, if you're lazy the way you stand, you're going to be lazy when you teach. You're going to be lazy when you clean the dojo. You're going to be lazy when you teach my children. Okay, appropriate touch. So there's high fives, fist bumps, pats on the backs, shaking hands with people. Okay, people bond via touch. I know it's a bit tricky when COVID came. Most people have got over that now. Okay, so and it helps people bond, and it's got to be appropriate as well. Okay, at the right time and not too much. Mat chat. So that means you chat with students on the mat at appropriate times. That doesn't mean you go around chatting to everyone and you break down the process of your of the class you're trying to deliver. because you should have a set lesson plan. There's set times within the lesson plan, like when we're stretching, that will go round, or on the warm up. You shouldn't just be stood at the front counting. That's not really a great class. You should be interacting, going around all the students, speaking to them all, speaking to them about the tournament they did last week, or what the grading this week, or how was your holiday. Like using people's names, interacting with them, avoiding distractions. So if you're teaching people, I'll give an example. If you're teaching what we call little soldiers or little ninjas or little dragons, 4 to 7s, if they are able to see, if you split the class down and they can see the other side of the class, guess what they're watching? It's not you, it's the other class. If they can see mum or dad, all they'll be doing is waving at them. If they can see a door that's opening, they'll be watching that. If they're looking out of a window or can see a mirror. So you need to look at that, and you set, when you do your lesson plans, you're positioning people so you can get the most out of them during these classes. So all these things need to be considered. Mirroring. You should always mirror when you teach. If you stood in front of someone and they're using their left, you use your right. Okay. Kids will mirror anyway, so they just get confused sometimes when you're not doing it. Praise, correct, and praise. So rather than just saying that wasn't very good, what the heck are you doing? Which I've seen some people do. You praise, that was a great punch, well done. This time, let's try and keep your guard up a little bit higher as you do it. Then they do it again. Great work, well done. Praise, correct, and praise. Use of voice, appropriate use of voice to raise the tone of the class when is needed, like when you get deep into your warm-ups. You don't want to be going off, boom, straight on a level 10 when they're not even warm, do you? Okay. And you don't want to be shouting and screaming when they're stretching. You've got to bring your voice down at the appropriate times and then bring it up at the appropriate times. Use your voice to control what's going on within the class. Be at a level 10. So when you go in there, regardless of what's happened, if you've had an argument with your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you're feeling like shit, you've had a bad day, no one cares, right? You just snap yourself out of it. You're on a 10, you're there. It's performance almost, okay? You need to be there, you need to be on a 10, and you need to be the best version of yourself, working non-stop from the minute your students come in until they go. That is your job, and that's what you must do. And if you're not doing it and you're hiding back, okay, then just have a word with yourself. So you need to bring people up. If some people, in fact, the average person in the UK is probably on about a 5 or 6, aren't they, would you say? Okay, the average person, like energy levels and like kind of happiness and excitement. So if you bring them into your school, they're on a 5 or 6, you're on a 10. Some people haven't got a 10 in them. If you bring them up to a 7 or 8, they're going to come back. They're going to feel good. They're going to want to be around that energy that you've got and that positivity. Okay, and that's what's going to draw them back in each time. If you're in a mood and they're trying to pick you up, or you're moaning or talking inappropriately about things that have happened to you in your life through small talk, you need to not do that. You need to be the ultimate professional. You need to be friendly with people, but not their friends. Okay. 3 points of contact with all students on all classes from you and all of your staff members. So if there's you running a class with 2 assistants, you'll have 3 points of contact. So would each of those with every member. That's 9 points of contact. Okay. You'll feel like you're being personally tutored. I mean, my first class I was just at the back of the class. No one spoke to me. No one spoke to me for weeks. Luckily, I love martial arts anyway and didn't mind. But you need to be better than that. We can be better. We know now the system's in place. Point of contact is use of name, eye contact, correction, appropriate touch. 3 ways of teaching, okay? Audio, visual, and kinesthetic. So when you're teaching someone, you need to make sure you're catering for all methods of learning. So most people will cover the visual. They'll demonstrate something and then people will do it. Good people that are naturally good at martial arts learn from visual stuff anyway. Then with a bit of an audio explanation. But then kinesthetic is when you learn through touch. So if you teach grappling, sometimes that's very kinesthetic. Or some of the really small children, 7s and below, they need to be physically put into the positions, they feel it, so they understand it. You can give them the best description and demonstration of all time, and they still be using the wrong hand. Focus claps, okay, that's just a way of bringing people into class, taking the children out of visual mode, and bringing them back into audio so they can listen and focus on what's going on. Countdowns, you want to create urgency in class, okay? You want a low level class, you want energy. So if you want someone to do something, if I want them to put kit on, or I want them to get into lines or to move positions, I'll count them down. So I'll say, when I say go, I want this side of the group over there. I want you to get your pads on. This side of the group, get your focus pads on, and then stand with each other over there. Stand by, go. So I'll tell them what I want, give them a standby, give them a go, and then I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you create an urgency. Everyone's running around to get their input in time. So you create energy and fun, and you condense down the time you need in your class as well. So people could quite easily take 5 minutes to do something that will allow 10, 20 seconds for competing. Okay, so you want to add an element of competition into your classes, get people to race to do stuff, get people to stand smarter than each other, especially with the children, the highly competitive, and get that into the classes as well. Post-class debrief and pre-frame. So every time you're doing the cool down, you should be doing a debrief of the class and pre-framing them for what's coming. We also use that opportunity to tell them about give out any stuff we've got about future events that are happening as well. So you make that as a standard within your classes. And you make sure people are in the appropriate class for the appropriate age and ability as well. Right, round 5 then is jumping ahead of myself, is the reorg or the restructure. So post battle, then military analogy. You've done the battle, you've fought the battle, you've won. Okay, what will happen then is all the members of your section will go in all-round defense, like on this position. So they're all facing out like the faces of a clock. Check in. There's no further enemy positions. What will happen then is the section commander and the 2IC will go around the troops, and they will find out what equipment they've got left. Are there any casualties? Has anyone been injured or killed? And they'll redistribute ammunition and give another snap set of orders, and then move forward positively from that position. So this is called the reorg. So the restructure, this is what you do once you've grown. You're growing your school, and I do this every few years, and I still do it now, and I encourage all of our big ones to do it, is you recalibrate everything every few years, okay? And that means you're getting rid of dead wood, you're changing things around. If you've not already done it, you pulled yourself back, and then you pull yourself back as far as you can. So the less teaching you do, the more students you'll have, okay? The irony of it, because you don't think you will, but the less teaching you do, the more students you have. So to start off with, you're doing everything yourself. So you need to change your structure. You need to bring the other people through. You need to look at the financial structures of your business. You need to look at your HQ and your teams and your support systems and how all that can be improved at the new size that you're at, because things change with size. I'm gonna cover now in this next part. So these are military management structures. I'm just going to explain these first, and then I'll talk about Dunbar's numbers and how these relate to these and management structures. So in the military, you have a buddy. So you have a buddy. First thing you do, they give you a buddy. You do everything with them. Okay, everything. You need to go to the toilet and your exercise, your buddy's with you. If you're making your food, your buddy's with you. If one of you are cleaning your weapon, your buddy's got his weapon assembled and he's watching out for you. You do everything together. Then you've got a fire team, 4 to 6 people, okay? And then that makes up a section, 2 fire teams, okay? Which 2 fire teams make up a section, and a platoon is made up of 3 sections. Okay, a company is made up of 3 or 4 platoons, and a battalion is made up of 4 to 5 companies. It's about 600 soldiers. So I served in 3 para. That's approximately how many people there are in my battalion. And then you have a regiment, okay, which is 2 to 4 battalions. Parachute regiment in my instance. Why am I telling you that? Okay, because Dunbar's numbers, his psychiatrist, from I don't even know what year he's from, but some of his information is used very much still now. And he talks about group sizes for maximum cohesion and the best sizes of groups that work the best in reality for people. The tightest circle of friends you can have is 5 people. You can't have more than 5 best friends, okay? You're lying if you do. You haven't got enough attention and energy to give people what they need to stay close to them. And if you have a relationship with someone, it will be less than that. They reckon it's 3 people, because your partner's going to be taking a lot of that energy and attention away. Okay? You can't have 10 best friends that you're not tight with them. They're going to be good friends, because you can have 15 to 20 good friends, good mates you might go on holiday with, friends of your other friends who you all get together. That's your main group. You go on holiday together, you do stuff, you go on nights out, okay? But that's your tight circle. There's your good friends. So a fire team, this is why they make a fire team. You do everything as your fire team, okay? Even if you're in a section, you work with your fire team, Charlie and Delta. A platoon is about 20 to 25 people. So this is why they make platoons this size. A company, 150 people. That's 150 meaningful contacts. Okay, people you know the name for and that you know well. If you mapped out your life now, everyone, aunties, uncles, cousins, friends, people that you dealt with, it'll be 150 people and no more. Okay, that is the maximum amount we can deal with. You can't deal with more than that. You haven't got the attention or time. You wouldn't give them enough attention or time because there isn't enough of it, and your circle would decrease to the point of being 150. This is why, as any regiment you're in any army or any unit you're in, you'll work at a company strength. So even when we went on operations, I was with my company all the time. I didn't even really see the other companies. We'd pass them. You work at a company level strength on everything you do. Okay. So the reason is because the chain of command and the company command structures for 150 people work. Okay. Over that, it doesn't. You need to have sub groups. So you'd have multiple companies, okay, within a battalion, but each has got their own commander. Battalion is 150, sorry, it's 500 acquaintances, and you'll have 1,500 people who you'd recognise. So the reason I'm telling you these is because you look at your business, look at your class sizes, look at the size of your schools. They need to fit within Dunbar's numbers, okay? So if you had your headquarters had 3 or 4 people in it, and that worked really well, and then you have 4 people, then you got 2 more new ones, and your headquarters is 6 or 7 people. That will start to break down because there's going to be break-offs, and there's going to be lack of communication. There's going to be breakdowns. There's going to be cliques forming. Okay, so you'd probably break that down into 2 subdivisions. They do this at big companies. Okay, you'd have subdivisions where they've got their own kind of network together, and then people would liaise from them. So just bear that in mind, guys. If you're having any issues with club sizes, you can remember everyone's name at your school when you got 150 students. Once you get over that, I forgot everyone's name over a certain point because there's just too many people to remember. Right, structures of a martial arts school. I spoke about this before. This is the correct one. You at the top, all your instructors and advanced students, your intermediates, and then massive amounts of beginner classes and beginners coming in all the time. This is an incorrect one. Okay, so hardly any beginners coming in. It's top heavy. So, it's all about your fight club or your advanced students, and all your decisions that are made to change anything are met with objections by these lot, who are the majority of your school, and it's very difficult to change anything. Okay, if you make a change here, then if 2/3 of the school is beginners and intermediates, they just jump and change. They whatever you do, they're okay with it. And new ones coming in don't know any difference. Okay, so and you will need to implement changes to your school unless your school is perfect as it currently is. Okay, and changes will cause dramas. Okay, will cause disruption, will ruffle feathers, but you need to be strong and just do it. Okay, how to replace yourself then? So this is what I'm asked a lot of the time about how you replace yourself. There's a structure for doing it with the least amount of disturbance. Okay. So what you do, the first thing you do, if you set your school up, as I've said, so it's like this. So half of your school, half of your classes are beginners anyway. Okay. So you got a beginner class for everything. And then your marketing drives people into the new classes for beginners only. First thing you get is an admin staff member. Okay, that'll do. They can do the registers, do your stats for you, send you everything. They can chase up Facebook leads. They can sign people up for gradings. They can sell kit. They can take load of the work away, and it's minimal wage really for a job like that, and they can create a lot of value. The first thing you do would be that. Then you get someone to do beginners classes. So you're going to get the least amount of disturbance by getting your beginner classes sorted. But if you get someone to run your admin team, like, listen, up to 150 people, you do everything yourself. And I tell everyone this, up to 150 people and onwards, you start drawing yourself back and you outsource everything. You outsource your marketing. Okay. You get an admin staff member, you get your beginners class done. So as soon as you've got an admin staff member and your beginners class is covered, you are literally doing half the amount of classes now. You can have a night off in the week. That will create space and clarity in your mind so you can focus on your business and not be working in it all the time. Next thing you do is get all your little soldiers or your little kids classes covered. Okay. And then you get your intermediate classes covered a year later. So, because your beginners, they move through to the intermediates after about 6 months. A lot of if you do it a year later, it's the same guy. Okay. A lot of the intermediate classes would have been taught by the guy who does the beginners anyway, or the girl, or whoever it is. So that's the majority of your stuff done. And then you do the advanced classes, the fight classes, and the intros if you're still working actively at a center. So when I had my headquarters, I did that. So I did 6 classes a night, 6 days a week for 12 years. And then I pulled that back slowly to 3 days a week. That went to 2 days a week. Then I went to 1 day a week. And then I moved areas totally. So I had to totally detach myself from it. That went wrong, got the wrong person in place, then got the right person in place, built it up, and now it works. But in all of the centres, I don't teach anywhere on any of my schools now. The only thing I do is this, which is teach the staff. I can add way more value this way. Okay. And you need to add more value by doing the things only you can do. Okay. And if other stuff can be done, it gets done. That's how you scale. But there will be complaints. Complaints are normal. Doesn't matter. You could get Bruce Lee to cover you and people would moan. Okay. You'll be getting texts on a night out with your partner saying, you know, little Johnny was crying. He's not very happy because it's a different instructor or whatever. So don't worry about that, guys. Extended team then. Listen, you want to be the very best at what you do, you need to have the right team. And that means everybody. That doesn't just mean your team that you teach. Your accountants need to be good. Your billing company should be good. Okay, if you go with the wrong billing company, some billing companies, a few of them have gone down. And I know people that have lost 2 months worth of billing to wrong billing companies. We obviously with Nest, which is the best in my opinion, without a doubt. I know all the safeguarding they've got in place and how thorough Gerard and the team are. So you need to make sure that you've got the right people. Solicitors, you might think I don't use solicitors much. You will do as you get bigger. You're going to be having employment contracts. You're going to be having franchise agreements. You're going to be having leases for new places. And as you get bigger and bigger, you'll have disagreements with people as well. So they need to be done properly with a good quality solicitor. If you're not using much and as you start, that's a level of dictating and assessing your level of success when you start using solicitors a lot more. Franchise, if you're part of a franchise, if you're with a good one, this can add so much value. But if you're with a bad one, it's a dictatorship, basically, isn't it? A franchise. Let's think about it. It's a way of being done that must be done that way. And if you're with good people, it's great. They must share the same values and ideas as you. Otherwise, it will be an absolute pain in the ass. Marketing agency, if they suck, the first thing that people are seeing is your marketing. So that's a representation of your school. They're part of your team. They must be the best at what they do. And mentors. If you haven't got a mentor, you need to get a mentor. You're going to be limited in what you can do unless you can stand in the footsteps of people that have already walked the path. It just saves you a lot of time. And like I've said, you don't know what you don't know. And you need to keep it at the forefront of your attention. So it's your primary goal. Right then, the last round 6, is repeat. Okay, so this is training and selection. This is how to build a team and how to find your team and then how to train them. So if you're looking for someone, you want to look within the ranks first. If you've got 100, 150 students, you will have 10 to 15 people. You'll have 10% of the people there will be suitable. They haven't got to be the best martial artists. They haven't got to, obviously they can't be crap or very good or useless, but you should be able to teach them the qualities to get good. But they must be reliable, okay? They've got to be trustworthy, loyal, hardworking, punctual, user-friendly and polite, okay? So these are important qualities because they're going to be at the forefront of your school because you can train them up as what we call a SWAT or an SAS team member. So they get a different color suit and then they can be helpers. And then I've got a whole program on how to then mentor these guys, we get like score, not what they're called, log books. You then get log books. And you count how many hours they're assisting with and how many classes. And once they've done so many, they move through to the next level. You get free help while mentoring and training these guys and then put them on an instructor training course. And then it goes on and on. Okay, right then, before we finish, I just want to talk a little bit about this, which is, it's a little test that I do. Okay, and I do this with the instructors and I've done this with my own kids and I've done this with kids before. And it is about, realigning yourself with what it is that you really want to do or what really needs to happen. Okay, so it's called click your fingers test. So it basically means if you could just click your fingers and change something, would you? And if the answer is yes, then you've got to do it. It means you're being you're worried of the short-term effect that might cause financially, emotionally, or workload, or whatever it might be. If you've got someone that's working for you and they're not good enough, but they're your mate, okay, that happens quite a lot. And if you just click your fingers and get rid of them and get someone else in who you know, but it's going to be awkward, do it. Okay. You have to. You know what's right or what's wrong in your business. Okay. And you're not doing it. You need to be a warrior. Okay. In business, you need to make the decisions that are correct for your business and going to help you to succeed, not do what's easiest or dance around the outside of something. Okay. And I've done this with someone and they left their wife. That wasn't my intention, but that's obviously how he was feeling. But you could, you know, if you could click your fingers and leave your job and just be full-time teaching, would you? If you could click your fingers and, get somebody who you want to teach working for you, would you? If you could get rid of someone, if you could get rid of that moaning Karen at the club who causes all the problems, but you don't want to because you know she's going to kick off and probably say some horrible stuff about you to everybody, do it. Get rid of them. I've got rid of plenty of them before. Okay. So yeah, I just thought I'd leave you with that one, guys. Also, right, if you want to succeed, I haven't quite finished yet, Lou. I'm just on the last little peripheries. Have I gone over too long? No. Okay. Sorry, guys. I do waffle a little bit, but I've got this here. I want to deliver it properly to you. I didn't want to cut you short. You're modeling success, guys. You need people around you that are successful. You need mentors. You need accountability. You need to think big consistently. You need to be consistent with what you do. And with that will come competency and mastery. Okay, quick overview then of my 6 rounds. Get everything set up. You select people, you retrain them, and then you start again. That's what that means. And you just keep going, and that's how you build up. Moving forwards then, you need to build your network up. The more people you interact with in martial arts will help you. Okay, you need to. I want to double the size of the industry. I want the UK to be double what it is. I think. Imagine how much better the place would be if there were more people benefiting from martial arts. Okay, and this is why I put myself out there and try and do as lot of these things as much as I can to help as many people. Because you guys have got a skill set, you just need to fine tune it a little bit, which isn't hard. I've done it loads of times. Free book, you can all get a free book. Lou, what's the best way for them to get a free book?
I'm going to pop my email address in the chat. Anyone who wants a free book can just send me an email. I'll send it over to you, Lee, and we
Yeah,
can get it
brilliant.
over. So just pop your
Or
name, school name, and address.
get a free financial planner as well, guys, from Nest. And I do annual one-off events as well. If you follow me at Lee Matthews Official on Instagram or Facebook, you'll find out all the stuff that I'm doing. I've got a big show on the 11th of January where people can just come along and see some of the best speakers in the industry. There's 10 of us speaking on there. I can help you whatever level you're at. You've got the book, okay? You do a financial plan with Nest. You come to the one-off annual event. That's great. Some people want more than that, and if you do, guys, I could offer that as well. I run a 2-day and a 5-day training course. These are free to members that mentor with me, that get mentoring with us. If they're mentoring, it's great because remember, only about 20% of people actually take action. If I give you the book, not even everyone reads it. Like you've got to, it's about implementing this information. You're the mean average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So select those people carefully. Mastermind groups, you need mentors. And that's what we supply. And this is the mentoring groups that we do, guys. We have a red on group for under 100 students. All we concentrate on is getting you over that. Then we've got the Mastermind 250, the Mastermind 500, and the Mastermind 1000. Okay. What I'm going to do, if anyone is interested or wants to know anything else about that, if you just message either me, lee@kicksport.com, I'll just leave that in the note. Can you put that in the notes for us?
Yeah.
And message me directly or Lou. And I can do a 1-hour consultation with you for free, guys. And I can just go over where you're at now with your school and then let you know what I would propose to do to help you out. And if you want to do the mentoring, it's if you're under 50 students, I only charging 200 quid a month. If you're under 100, it's 300. And if you're over 100, it's 395. So I don't need to do this. I do it. I've got a very successful business, as Lou will let you know. Um, I do this because I can make a difference to the industry, and I'm a commitment to do that. This is why I work harder than I ever had. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I started writing the book. You don't need to do all this. We can just be relaxing, but it's not the nature of the beast, is it? We can do stuff better, then we have to do it better, as far as I'm concerned, and we can. So that is it. With the mentoring, then you get a buddy. We'll go into sections. You get section commanders mentoring monthly, quarterly face-to-face webinar seminars, which is what Lou went to the other day, and we do monthly half-day webinars as well. But you'll also get in a section with a section group, section commander in your WhatsApp group, stats every Monday, and then you have a section commanders meeting halfway through the month, and then a webinar at the other start at the start of the month. So every 2 weeks we've got interaction. You set 3 goals, and we're off again. So break down everything you've learned, prioritize the 3 things, and get them implemented. There you go. Any questions, guys? I can have a little look now into the chat. Have you got
I think we
anything?
just have one question from Anya.
Yeah.
So would you recommend ability split classes and mixed age rather than mixed ability but similar age groups?
Well, you need to have them break down by both, really. I mean, depends on the size of your school. So obviously, if you're not that big, the first thing you'll do, you break down by ages. That is the first priority. So you'd have 4 to 7s, 8 to 11s, and then we do 12s and above. It's a limited adult audience nowadays, you find, unless you're doing adult specific classes like ladies only or MMA classes or something. So we break down by those first of all. Once you've got big enough, you will then break them down into beginner version classes of those as well. On the satellite schools, when we're mobile, we work the 80-20 rule, remember. So you're going to be mainly focusing on the age groups. If we've got one instructor and they have 10 locations, 2 a night, they only need 20 people in each location. That's 10 in each class. You've got 200 students. You have a really good, profitable school at that stage, because you should be making £1,000 a month per 100 students on your kit sales, if you're on the ball with those. Plus you've got your gradings, you've got your additional income stream generators as well, like your events and your tournaments, not to mention your normal, if you're charging 50 quid a month and you've got 200 people, that's 10 grand a month, isn't it? If I work that out right, it should be netting 10 grand a month. So
Yes.
that's a good size profitable business, and we wouldn't necessarily have beginners at all those ones. And the way it works, if we had 10 schools, it's the 80-20 rules. 2 of them would be quite quiet and would be trying to relaunch. 2 of them would be massive, and the rest would be normal. So the massive ones would stop putting extra classes in. The quieter ones would either relaunch or shut down and move the nights to where the bigger ones were. You follow the students. So that's
Yeah.
a really long answer for that.
You're all about the detail, which is good.
Yeah,
Just one more question. Actually, we've got a couple more questions. So, from Dan Blackwell, Lee, is a class size of 13 good or bad?
it's not bad size. Yeah, not bad size at all. Depends what it is and how big your dojo is and what you're teaching. But that's not bad at all. We'll be happy with those. Once they go in under, it's like I said, on our model, if we have 10 per class on some of not in the full-time centres, obviously, it's different, because the full-time centres, you can do teens, you can do beginners, intermediates, advanced. That's when you'd really line it up. If you're on the satellite schools, like we've said, 10 or above, we're happy. They're good numbers. We're not even worried. It's when they get into like 6 and 7s, still be all right. We'd be relaunching. And once they get under 5 and we can't push them up, we just close them then, because they're a liability at that stage. Now, what you'll find is, you might think, well, that's a bit cutthroat. You've got families and people there, but your school needs to be around you. Okay, you're not a charity case. You can't keep a class going and just for a few people. And not all locations are created equally. I don't care what anyone says, and I know more than anyone because I've opened everywhere. And some places, boom, like that, they just fill up. And other places, it's like flipping, pulling teeth. And you just think, for me, the energy taken to build that up would be better placed by closing it and opening a new one and relaunching. So that's the way I think, but not everyone's in the same position. But what I do with some people, I don't care if they come with me. If they've got like 40 students, sometimes I'll go, right, you're just going to move your schools. You've been there for 2 years. You've tried everything. It's not moving. Relaunch in a primary school. Change your location. Primary school with more than 300 students in. Follow my system. Relaunch it, and you'll get more students. But so and so goes there, and they've been with me. Like, okay, don't then. And then your school's just going to stay this. You stay there for them. Then
Yeah.
you need to think about what you're doing with your school and how you want to want it to do it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So
And we've got a question from Kevin in Ireland. Hi Lee, do you manage Facebook advertising also, or do you outsource this?
I outsource everything. Yeah. So all my guys as well, we use Swapnil. So he's part of the elite. He's one of our section commanders. So anyone who does mentoring with us, they actually get his services for cheaper as well, because we understand if you pay money for one thing and you got to pay for something else. We don't want to take the mickey out of people. We want it to make it sustainable and workable for them. But if you get someone who's an expert at it, then it's an outgoing that you must be paying. You must be paid 10% of your turnover, really, or something around that for your marketing. Okay, you've got to create more. Once you get over a certain threshold, it's difficult when you're small because you haven't got enough money. So I always say under 150, do it yourself. 100 to 150. I mean, I have some people that were under 100 and just outsourced it straight away because they wanted to get big quick, and that was their mindset. And then those guys got up to 200 quite quickly because they were prepared to go, I've got 3 months worth of money in me. Hopefully I'll get it by then. Like, take the risk sometimes. It does work. If you're in a good area with a good amount of population and your Facebook's done right, because it's very competitive out there, and if it's not done as good as it can be done, then other people will be getting in front of you and will be getting the bid, and their ad will be seen and yours won't be. So if yours is done to the best it can be in your ability, can be signing 20 people a month quite easily, more in some areas, 20 to 40 people a month. If you're in some of the big cities, it depends on what your spend is. But you'd probably spend about 20 quid a day now on average Facebook, 600 quid a month. If you
Yeah.
can afford that, but then if you're going to outsource it, then you have to pay a fee to get that done properly. But if you just boxed off 900 quid a month and that's right, you will be able to sign in 20 odd people a month, 20 to 25. That'll bring you to 250 members. That type of, especially if you got to get your systems on the inside sorted. Getting new members in isn't the problem. That's easy. You got to do,
Getting
it's
the product right.
yeah, the product's got to be good as well.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Lee, there are no more questions.
Okay.
You've got 12 people who are hardcore followers that have watched this start to finish.
Well done, guys.
And a few apologies to people who had to bail a bit earlier because they ran out of time. Lots of thank yous coming in. Thank you everyone for sticking with us so long. I think it's very clear to see how much knowledge and experience that Lee's got from both military and from running the martial arts clubs. If anyone wants to know about his mentoring program, please reach out to him. I've put his email address in the chat. Email me or Lee for a free book. He's very generously offered a free book. You can also have a free budget tool session with myself if you're not an S client. If you are an S client, you get that for free anyway. Um, Lee, listen, you spent so much time with us. Thank you so much for imparting that knowledge with us. This is going to be available on YouTube for other people to see as well, but this is a mind-blowing amount of information. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you again, and thank you everyone for having come and spent your time with us. Thank you
Brilliant.
very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everybody.